Good morning. Today is Friday, the 25th day of Iyar. This Shabbos is Shabbos Mavorchim. We're going to bless the month of Sivan, the month of Matan Torah. And today we continue chapter 51 in Tanya. And indeed we are completing that chapter. As we mentioned yesterday, the Tanya is 53 chapters, the first part, and we are about to complete it. And in these last three chapters, the Alter Rebbe talks about focusing about the meaning of Kikarov elecha, adavar me'od beficha o b'lvavcha la'asoto. It is very near to you to do in your mouth and your heart, to do the mitzvahs, to get close to Hashem, how to do it. And he's focusing on the meaning of what it means that the action, mitzvahs of action, that Hashem dwells on your head, and in order to get this godly light that is on your head needs oil, needs fuel, and the fuel is the actual mitzvahs. He's going to explain later on why the actual mitzvahs are the fuel. But for now, in this chapter, the Alter Rebbe is trying to explain what does it mean that God dwells on your head? What does it mean that God dwells in a certain place more than other places? And for that, the Alter Rebbe gave the analogy of the body and soul, the way the soul animates the body. We have basically three stages. The soul itself is way beyond and above any divisions or to be categorized in certain categories. The soul is above divisions. It's not limited. It's not in any shape or form. The soul is one simple soul. And the other end, there is the body, and there is the parts. The soul animates the body, each organ according to its needs. So there must be something in between, and that is the way each function of the body is in potential in the soul, and that is, where is it in the brain? So you have the soul itself, which is above divisions. You have the parts where the soul animates each individual organ according to its needs. And then you have the center, the hub of where the soul is in the body, and from there it comes out to each and every organ. That is the brain. In the brain, we have the soul, and it has in potential the different forces, the different functions of the body. In potential, it's there in the brain. And now the Alter Rebbe goes on to explain the metaphor, and that is that in a similar way, Hashem, you have God Himself is above the world, and nothing you can say that it takes place in the world that does not affect Hashem. But in the same time, Hashem goes and is vested Himself in every part, into the lowest parts of this world. And there is something in between. So there's the center of the hub of God's dwelling that He will explain in the next chapter. But for now, in this last part of this chapter, the Alter Rebbe goes to explain basically the first part and the last part. The part that the way we're talking about Hashem is above everything, and the part that Hashem is in every little detail. So let's look inside as the Alter Rebbe continues in chapter 51. Says the Alter Rebbe, "V'kocha mamash al derech mashul," in a truly similar manner, figuratively speaking. Ein soif baruch hu memale kol almin lachayosam. The blessed Ein Sof fills all worlds so as to animate them. Now, in each and every world, there is endless levels. ובכל עולם יש ברואים לאין קץ וסחלס. In each and every world, there are creatures without limits or end. Riboy revovois minei madregos malachim uneshamois chulu. There are myriads upon myriads of various grades of angels and souls and so on. And so on. In the abundance is the abundance of the world without end, no limit. Gavoya al gavoya chulu. One higher than the other, and so on. So here we have the third part, the fact that you have all these details. But in the same time, Hashem is equally in all the worlds. What does it mean? It says the Alter Rebbe V'hinei mehusay ve'atzmusay shel ein sof baruch hu shave be'elyonim ve'tachtonim. Now the core and essence of the blessed Ein Sof is the same in the higher and the lower worlds. Kimishal neshama aniskel eil, as in the example of the soul mentioned above. Now we explained that the soul's core and essence is not visible, and thus it cannot be said of it that is found in the brain to a greater extent that is found in the feet. The soul, when we're talking about the soul giving life to the person, the life of the soul is equal in every part. The brain is just alive, just as alive as the pinky is. Every part of the body is equally alive. You have the soul in every part. So the same thing is God's essence is in everywhere. As it is written in the Tikkunim, that's from the Zohar. It says, that he is hidden from all the hidden. What does it mean that he is hidden from all the hidden? Simple understanding of this is that he's hidden, that is so hidden that all the hiddens, everything that is hidden is not as hidden as he is hidden. But here the Alter Rebbe comes and explains it a little different. It says, Pirush, what this means, the afilu be'alma sesimin de le'ela usasum ve'nelam be'soicham. He says, even in the higher hidden worlds, the greatest spiritual hidden worlds, we're talking about godliness is there, obviously, in a much higher level, which is hidden from us. Even there, he is hidden. The essence of Hashem is hidden there equally, exactly the way it is hidden by us. Because the higher worlds and the lower worlds are all the same when compared to the essence of God. That's what Alter Rebbe says. It means to say that even in the higher hidden worlds, he's hidden and concealed within them. Just as he's hidden and concealed in the lower worlds. Because there is no thought that can apprehend him at all. Even in the higher worlds. So basically what it comes out that he's just like he's found there, he's found here, he's found there exactly the way he's found here in the lowest worlds. However, there are differences. There are differences in the levels of godliness between this world and the higher worlds. Endless of differences. Where does the difference come from? So the Alter Rebbe says the difference is how much godliness is revealed. But we're not talking about the essence of Hashem. The essence of God is above the worlds, above the higher worlds and above the lower worlds. But the difference is how much it is revealed, how much godliness is revealed. That's what the Rebbe continues. The difference between the higher and the lower worlds, umitzadam shochas achayus asher ein soiv bochu mamshich umeir lebchinas gilui me'ahelem. The difference between the higher and the lower worlds is with regard to the flow of vitality, which the blessed Ein Sof causes to flow and illuminates in the manner of revelation out of concealment. And it brings an example, and it says, parenthetically, that this is why the Kabbalist term the godly energy, the term they give it is light. And just to explain, there is in other sources that describe, not the Kabbalists, the Chaykim, the philosophers that describe the godliness also in a form of, they call it shefa. Shefa means influence, or when you get something flow. There's a difference between light and the shefa. Shefa, the light is like, you take an example of the light of the sun. When the sun shines, it gives equally to every part. And the sun, the sun's light is not limited in any way. Doesn't matter where it shines. And it's not affected in any way by where it shines. Versus Shefa, the example of Shefa would be like a teacher teaches a student. When a teacher teaches a student, he gives him Shefa. What does it mean? The teacher has to put himself into teaching, and he gives him knowledge. And the knowledge, the way he gives him, is formed to the student. So that, in effect, is change. It makes a difference on which level. He's not going to teach at a first grader the same way as in university. It's different levels and the teacher is also invested in it. That means even if you take, let's say you listen to a class on YouTube, it's not the same. It's not the same as when the teacher actually goes and directs his teaching towards the vessels of what the student is capable to receive. So the Shefa is affected and changed based on the vessel. The oil, the light, on the other end, is not affected in any way. So here, says the Alter Rebbe, the Mekubalim, they call the light, the energy that comes from Hashem, they call it oil, like light. That is equal in every place, and it's not affected. However, there is one difference, because by Hashem, the light that he gives is out of his own will. But the sun, let's say, it's not that the sun decides, here I want to give and there I don't want to give. But the light itself is equally in every, doesn't matter where it's coming from and where it's going to. So this is one of the reasons why the influence and flow of vitality is figuratively called light. And thereby animating the worlds and the creatures therein. So going back to the topic, he says that the higher worlds receive more light, and the lower worlds receive less. Higher worlds receive this vitality and light in somewhat more revealed form than do the lower. וכל הברואים שבהם מקבלים כל אחד כפי חיוס חנוסי. And all creatures therein, in the higher worlds, receive a revealed, the revealed aspect of vitality, albeit each according to its capacity and nature. שהיא תכונס ובחינס המשוך הפרוטיס, אשר אין סוף ברוך הוא ממשיך המאיר להם, which is the nature and form of the particular flow, which Hashem, the blessed Ein Sof, illuminates and gives it to. Ve'atachtonim, and the lower worlds, the lower levels, afilu aruchnim, even the spiritual ones, einam mekablim b'pchinas gilui kokach. They do not receive the divine life force in such a revealed form. Rak b'levushim rabim asher ein sof baruch hu malbish b'chayus v'oyer asher mamshich omer lem lachiyosam. It only comes by means of many garments that the blessed Ein Sof invests the vitality and light, which he causes to flow and shine on them in order to animate them. So you have different levels of light that comes from Hashem. And not only that, it says, "V'kol kach otzmu v'govru alevushim," and the garments that conceals the light they are so powerful that the garments are so great. There's so many and strong and powerful. Asher Ein Sof Baruch Hu malbish u'master b'mayir v'chayus, that Hashem, the Ein Sof, clothes and conceals in them the light and the vitality. Ad asher bora boya olam hazeh achumri v'gashmi mamash. That thereby, with this life force and light, he created this world that is a chumri, a corporal, gashmi, physical. And God creates and animates it by the vitality and light which he draws down to shine forth onto it. And this illuminates the light which is closed and concealed with the many garments and the strong garments that conceal and hide the light and the vitality. He conceals himself so strong, so much, that it's not visible. Any light and any energy is not visible. All you see is physical things, and they appear lifeless. That's how strong Hashem conceals his light. Yet they contain light and vitality, which constantly creates them something from nothing, ex nihilo. So that they should not revert to nothing and naught as they had been prior to their creation. This will be explained later in the next part of the Tanya. The Rebbe goes in details to explain how every second, every moment, and every second God has to recreate this world, otherwise it wouldn't exist. Continues the Rebbe and says, and this light comes from the blessed Ein Sof, except that it's clothed in many garments. And as it says in Eitz Chaim, this is from Rabbi Chaim Vital, the student of the Arizal, and he writes, "She'oyer v'chayus kadur ha'oretz ha'chumri anir le'ine baso, u'mimalchus de malchus de asiyah." This is the light and the energy, the vitality of this physical globe, the earth, that is seen in front of the eyes, that we see it. The light that animates it is from the level of Malchus of Asiya. What this means, as we explained in the previous lessons, there is the four general spiritual worlds, Asiya being the lowest of the four. Each world has 10 attributes, from Chachma, which is the Chachma B'Nedas, the intellectual ones, then Chesed, Gvurot, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yesod, Malchus, which are the 7 emotional ones. Malchus is the lowest level. Now, each one of the 10 is also made out of 10. There is a 10 in each one, just like we count now the days of the Sephiras. We say Chesed, Shebe Chesed, and so on. So he says the light that is in the vitality that is in this physical world comes from the lowest level, which is Malchus of Asiya. However, in this Malchus, they're all connected, they're interconnected with the higher worlds. In this Malchus, the Asiya, they come from the higher world as well. Ubeseicha says, Ubeseicha Malchus the Yetzirah, and in it is contained Malchus of the next highest world, the world of Yetzirah, and so on. So meaning within the Malchus of Yetzirah, in turn, there is also contained Malchus of Beria, which is the higher world. Ad shebetoich kulam Yud Sephiras D'Atzilus. So that in all of them, in every level, even the level of Malchus of all the worlds, they include the Malchus, including the Malchus of Asiya, they contain the 10 Sephiras of the highest world, the world of Atzilus, world of emanation. And the world of Atzilus, Amiyuchada b'ma'atzilon ein sof baruch hu, which are united with their emanator, the blessed Ein Sof. So what we see from here, you have this, on the one hand, this explains you have the Ein Sof, the Hashem, which is everywhere equally, which is above the worlds. It's like the source of the neshama. The neshama itself is not divisible. And the same thing is Hashem is not connected, is not affected in any way. And the same, and this, on the other hand, we have all of these details, the lowest levels, all the way till this world is created, the physical world, and that is the Malchus of Asiya is invested in this physical world. Yet, it is all in this physical world, even in the lowest world, it is connected with the higher levels, all the way till Atzilus, and that is one with Hashem. Now, what is the between? What is the source, the hub, if you will, that connects this great, endless Ein Sof with the lowest of the lowest? This is going to discuss in tomorrow's lesson, the next chapter. And Mitzvah Hashem, we should be discussing this on Sunday morning, B'ezras Hashem. Thank you so much for joining. And we should all have a Guten Shabbos and a Guten Chodesh. And we should be, as we mentioned, this is Le'ila Neshama of the people who lost their lives in Miron. We should only have simcha and joy. This is something, by the way, that united so many people in Eretz Israel and around the world. We should see this unity should bring us Mashiach very soon. Amen. Anyone has questions, comments, questions? Now is the time.